I want to ask you something before we begin. When was the last time you thought of your heart as something more than just a pump? Not metaphorically, not poetically, but literally, as an intelligent, electromagnetic, biologically sophisticated instrument that is actively shaping your reality every single second of your life. Most of us were never taught this. We were taught the brain runs the show. We were taught that emotions are just reactions. We were taught that love is a choice that you make with enough willpower and virtue. But science tells a completely different story. And today I want to take you through that story in 3 movements. First, what your heart is actually broadcasting into the field all around you right now. Second, what happens when your heart and brain finally fall into coherence. And third, what love actually is when you strip away the moral weight and look at it through the lens of biology. This episode changed the way I understand myself. My hope is that it does the same for you in some way. So let's start with the magnetic heart. We've been taught that the brain is the command center of our reality. But the truth is, another organ is constantly shaping our experience, long before a thought ever forms. It's the heart. And this isn't metaphorical or poetic. This is measurable, quantifiable, electromagnetic physics. Your heart generates the strongest electromagnetic field in your entire body, about 100 times stronger electrically and up to 5,000 times stronger magnetically than your brain. That means your emotions send out a broadcast signal that radiates several feet all around you. People don't just feel your vibe. Their nervous systems literally detect it. Studies from the HeartMath Institute and other independent labs show that your heart's rhythm changes instantly with your emotional state. Joy, frustration, peace, anxiety. And those patterns shift the electromagnetic field all around you. This is why when you're tense, a room feels tight. And when you're open, people exhale around you without knowing why. Your heart is constantly teaching the world how to respond to you. But here's where it gets even more extraordinary. Your heart isn't just reacting to emotion, it can retrain it. When you breathe slower, when you soften your chest, when you create coherence between your breath and your intention, your electromagnetic field changes, and your brain follows. Neuroscience has a name for this: heart-brain entrainment. The heart sets the rhythm. The brain tunes to it, not the other way around. This is why meditation works. This is why gratitude shifts your day. This is why healing starts in the body long before it reaches the mind. Your heart is a tuning fork for your reality. Change its frequency, and your entire life begins to reorganize around it. So if you want to shift your energy right now, try this. Place one hand on your chest. Breathe slowly. And think of one thing, just one, that brings you genuine warmth. Hold it for 10 seconds. You just rewired your field. Not metaphorically, electromagnetically. So the heart is broadcasting. It's leading. It's shaping the field around you with every emotional state you move through. But what happens when the heart and the brain stop working against each other and finally fall into rhythm? That state has a name. And what it unlocks in you is something most people have spent their entire lives searching for externally, without even realizing that it was always available from the inside. And that brings us to the second movement, what we call heart-brain coherence. We've been taught that intuition is some kind of mysterious spiritual download. But in reality, it's biology, it's physics, it's communication. Inside your body, your heart and your brain are constantly sending signals to each other. But the direction of the flow might surprise you. Your heart sends more information to your brain than your brain sends to your heart. The heart isn't just reacting, it's leading. And this is where intuition begins. Your heart has its own neural network, about 40,000 sensory neurons. that behave almost like a tiny little brain. It detects subtle emotional shifts before your conscious mind does. It picks up patterns in your environment before you can articulate them. But you only feel this as intuition when one thing happens: coherence. Coherence is the state where your heart rhythm becomes smooth and ordered, and your brain waves begin to synchronize with it. The moment this happens, the noise drops, the static clears, and your internal signal becomes easier to hear. Coherence changes your physiology. Your stress hormones drop, your nervous system shifts into regulation. Your immune system becomes more efficient. Your prefrontal cortex, the intuitive, creative part, it lights up. And on an electromagnetic level, your heart's field becomes more structured, more rhythmic, and more detectable. This is why you think more clearly when you're calm, why you know things before you can even explain them, why your gut feelings become sharper during periods of deep emotional presence. Intuition isn't magic. It's what happens when your internal communication system is unobstructed. So here's a simple coherence reset you can use anytime. Place 2 fingers lightly at the center of your chest. Breathe in for 5 seconds and breathe out for 5 seconds. And imagine your breath moving into that heart space. Now recall one memory that brings genuine warmth. Within 60 seconds, your heart rhythm begins to smooth out and your brain follows. You're not forcing intuition, you're allowing it. Because when your heart and brain align, you don't have to seek guidance. You become able to hear what's been whispering to you the entire time. The heart broadcasts. The heart leads the brain into coherence. The heart unlocks intuition. But there's one more dimension of this that I want to sit with you for a moment. Because for a long time, I thought love was something I was supposed to do better. I thought if I was struggling to feel open, struggling to feel compassion, struggling to feel connected, that meant something was wrong with me spiritually. And then I learned something that really changed everything. Love isn't a personality trait. It's not a moral achievement. It's not something you do better by trying harder. Love is a state of the nervous system. And the heart is the instrument that gets you there. Which brings me to the third movement. When your body feels safe, love flows more easily. When your system is regulated, openness is natural. And when your nervous system is overwhelmed, love doesn't just disappear. It goes offline. This explains so much, like why we struggle to feel compassion when we're exhausted, why love feels conditional when we're stressed, why connection collapses when our bodies are in survival mode. From a biological perspective, love lives in the ventral vagal state, the part of your nervous system that governs connection, trust, and social engagement. You don't access that state through effort. You access it through safety. This was a huge realization for me. There were times in my journey when I thought I was becoming less loving, less patient, less open. 10 minutes in LA traffic alone will make you feel that way. But the truth was simpler and much kinder. My nervous system was protecting me. Love didn't leave. It was waiting for safety. And this changes how we relate to ourselves and to others. Instead of asking, why can't I love better? We ask, what does my body need to feel safe enough to open? Sometimes the most loving thing isn't softness, it's rest, boundaries, slowing down. Love returns when the body trusts again. So if love feels hard right now, if compassion feels distant, if you feel closed off or guarded, nothing is wrong with you. Your nervous system is asking for care. And when that care is given, love remembers how to flow. Now, with all that said, I hope you can see the truth in there somewhere. Your heart is broadcasting a field that shapes how the world responds to you. When your heart and brain fall into coherence, your intuition becomes clearer than your fear. And love, the thing that we were told that we had to earn, perform for, or to choose harder, is simply what flows when your nervous system finally feels safe enough to open up. So the invitation today is not to love more, not to try harder, not to be better. The invitation is to create the conditions where love stops having to fight its way through. Slow the breath, soften the chest, give the nervous system one moment of genuine safety, and let the heart do what it has always known how to do. Thank you for being here. I'll see you on the next one. And if this resonated, please hit like, subscribe, share it with a friend. Trying to build a community where we lead with love. And I hope you will join us. I love you.